Like, just these guys are getting the best sound language interpreter in the whole of Africa.
Wow.
So I mean, what we saw now, which is interesting and going to happen, is Coinbase has now applied for a license and been granted a license in Bermuda,
Yeah.
also looking for approval in Abu Dhabi. And obviously, from an operational perspective, from a purely business perspective in any industry, if there's uncertainty regarding regulation in what you're doing, you need to look elsewhere because you don't want to be operating in a country that doesn't even themselves know whether what you're doing is legal or not. If they cannot tell you whether, this is a security, this is not a security, this is allowed, this is not
Yeah.
allowed, how are you supposed to know? And it just puts your business at huge risk because you could inadvertently be doing things that are illegal because no one knows whether it's legal or not. And so they're applying for licenses everywhere. We've seen other big exchanges doing the same. And, I think America's got to think really carefully and say, look, do we want to be on the forefront of innovation? And really embrace these new technologies and be a place where people want to come for the stuff, or do we want to do what we're doing now and completely reject them and make their lives miserable and make their lives uncertain so that we aren't the ones that they come to when they want to start these things? And I think it's a very serious question that they need to ask themselves and really seriously consider changing their approach to these type of things, because this is not the way that the biggest, best country in the world should be treating innovation. They fucking up left, right, and center, to put it quite bluntly.
Dude, they're fucking up in like all places. Like the idea of me moving internationally has popped up so many times in my head, and I'm very like not opposed to it. I'm kind of down. It's a big life decision to do that kind of thing. It's pretty risky, but man, dude, a lot of nonsense happening in the United States. And I'm not really sure. I'm kind of with you. Like, I don't really like that. I don't know if half the shit we're doing is legal. It's just weird, you know. Like, I'm like filing taxes, and I'm like, bro, like, I'm like, I don't know if I did any of this shit right. Like, I know everyone. It's like a joke on Twitter right now of like everyone fucking up their taxes and the IRS coming after them. But bro, I have no idea if I did that right. None. I'm sitting there and I'm like, bro, even if I hired a lawyer, they wouldn't know if I did this right. Like half the stuff doesn't make sense. You're submitting the form in this certain format, but the format doesn't line up with the one that's on the tax website. And you're like, dude, I just pray and hope that you guys know the answer. And they don't. They're making stuff up too. So I'm like, maybe I should just move to where like I'm gonna find a wife. Like I need to move to Sweden or something. Continue making
Look, I think a couple of things. I think first of all, just from an old friend, old not meaning that we've been friends that long. It's been about a year, but old being that I've got some grey hairs. From an old friend, I would suggest to you that you do need a tax. Like an accountant or something
Yeah.
like that. You do in general, because in the end of the day, whatever you submit, you will be held liable for. It's not a defense to say I didn't know whether that was right
Yeah.
or wrong. And it could be a criminal offense as well. I'm not saying you're doing that. I'm just saying if you think you're doing it right. So that's something you should do. I mean, quite early on in Perkel, not early enough, but quite early on, I managed to get a really great company in that does our accounts,
Nice.
and they really really do it well. They let us know when we can legally save. They let us know when we legally
Mm,
can't, when we need to pay, when we don't. When and it's important. It's something
yeah.
that is really important and up there. It's sort of like toilet paper. It's a grudge purchase. Like you don't want to spend money on having to spend money,
Yeah.
right? So you're paying someone so that you can file your tax returns, but they can really make sure, first of all, that you're clean, that you're
Yeah.
doing things the way you should. But second of all, there's legal ways that certain expenses you should be able to put through your business. Even
Yeah.
you using your property there where
Well,
you live
now in
as work,
now I
you
have
could
the
put some of
LLC.
your rent.
Yeah, now this year
Yeah.
I got the LLC, so next year I will need to do that because I literally don't know how to do it. But before everything before this, like in 2022, I didn't have the LLC yet, so everything was still like through the like all the taxes was all in one little funnel. But yeah, this next year I'm definitely gonna need to.
You get someone accountant for the business and one person or the same person, and they can tell you some of these expenses
Oh,
can
okay.
actually be put through your business. Because yes, you're renting that place for you to sleep, but half of the time you're working. So I don't know the laws in the States, but a percentage of the rent can be put through as a company expense. And
True.
that will reduce your profits in the business. And that means you pay less company tax legally. Right, so you need a proper cut. Second of all, I think is the funniest thing that my American friend in a first world country is telling me that he's considering leaving to greener pastures. It's hilarious because here I am, I'm sitting in South Africa where in 10 minutes time, literally 12 minutes time, you're going to see a change to the lighting behind me because the electricity in the entire area is going to be intentionally turned off for 4 hours
Why?
because they don't have enough capacity to deal with the supply. So it's called load shedding. There isn't enough capacity. There's not enough electricity for everyone that needs. So every day, 3 times a day, for 2 to 4 hours at a time, they switch off our electricity completely. The whole area is switched off in black so that they don't blow up the entire system by letting everyone use as much as they need.
You
That's
want to
number
know
one.
you want to know what sounds worse though than what you just said? What sounds worse
Yeah.
is buying a Bored Ape Yacht Club instead of just moving to a place where they don't shut off your power.
What sounds worse is buying a Bored Ape Yacht Club instead of moving to a
Bro,
place where
you're
they
out here
don't.
buying JPEGs. Move to a place where they don't shut off your power. What you mean?
Well, hold on, hold on. It's not all financial. I mean, look,
Yeah.
I'm not mobile like you. I've got 3 beautiful boys, as you know, all in school, all settled in school. I've got my poor mom here who's by herself and needs to be looked after. I've got Bianca's family, entire family here. My business is here. To just pick up and leave is not so easy.
Sounds like excuses.
No, it's true. It's not so easy. Anyway, I would much rather have a Bored Ape Yacht Club than have electricity. I mean, let's be honest. You got to get your priorities right over here.
That's 100%. That's facts.
But it is funny that you also the grass is always greener, Kate. I mean, wherever
Yeah,
you move, there's going to be
I
good
agree.
and bad, no matter where you are.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would leave America so